What's good, YouTube? DM Gaming here, guys. Uh, y'all, I really don't know. I don't know about this one, man. I don't know about this one. Y'all, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Y'all know we already know. They're doing Dragon Ball Daima. It's exciting to get new content, y'all, but I'm not gonna even lie to y'all. I'm not excited about this one. At least not part one. You know, if you've been watching Dragon Ball Daima, then you know what's been going on. If you haven't, I'm finna say some stuff that if you have not watched Daima, then you need to click away. In 3, 2, 1. So if you're staying, that means you don't care about spoilers. So they just had the last episode of Dragon Ball Daima today. And we know that part 2 of this is going to contain Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, both in kid and adult form. And then, let me pause that right there. Let me go back. Pause that. Because that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So, we know that part 1 or part 2 is going to contain Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, kid and adult. We know it's going to contain Super Saiyan 4 Goku, kid and adult. There was no fusion. So no fusions. But the bulk of the content or the awesomeness of this Dragon Ball Daima is in part 2. Y'all, part 1 is a waste of time. Part 1 to me is a waste of time. By the way, if you're new to the channel, guys, hit that subscribe button. Get out of the portal, become great. So what do I mean by part 2 or part 1 rather, is a waste of time? Well, part 1, let's watch the trailer. Let's break down this trailer. And I'm gonna explain why. Because, guys, these trailers pretty much reveal everything about the DLC. That's one thing that I never liked about Dragon Ball Z Kakarot to begin with, is anytime they were doing new releases and new info, the trailer would literally show you everything. Now, there's always like this secret boss battle that's not shown, but for the most part, what you see is what you get. I mean, awesome cutscenes. Glorio, if I'm saying his name right, we know he's not going to be the final boss in this, because even the screenshots show Tamagami 1. But guys, there's some new stuff coming. Let's be real, okay? Let me tackle the positives first. Everybody's a kid. We know that. You're going to have a crew with you, bub, and tackle with new friends. So your support crew now is going to be these guys. Okay. Well, they're running from somebody, it looks like right there, and I don't know if she fights, but I know Glorio and Supreme Kai does. You see the Bora statue back there in the background. That's pretty cool. Oh, they wasn't running from something. But well, I guess she would fight too. All 4 of them are in your party, or all 3 of them rather are in your party. I'm not flabbergasted, or I'm not in awe about this world. I know that this world is going to be large, it's going to be expansive. My issue is, what are we going to be doing? Training up to fight Glorio and Tamagami 1. There's not, the best part of Dragon Ball Daima is not in the first 8 episodes. It's in the later episodes. You know what I'm saying? Part 2 is where it's going to be at. So I'm not saying this isn't going to be fun. Of course, I'm going to play it. I'm going to enjoy it for what it is. The thing that bothers me, or what I feel like they should have done, first boss fight right there, I feel like they should have just combined it into one full DLC. Don't split it up. Okay. Another thing, and I think this is why they're splitting it into 2 parts, guys. Because in the first part, it's all ground combat. Or from what's shown in the trailers, just ground combat. And in part 2, Goku is more used to being in the demon realm, and so he flies. I mean, he doesn't even fight Tamagami 1 on the ground the entire time. So I don't know how they're going to handle that fight. Remember what I talked about in the last video, that maybe they're finally going to have it to where you can either do ground or air combat. But I don't think they're going to do it to where you can transition from the ground to the air. I think the way it's going to be done is, depending on who you're fighting, it's either going to be a ground fight or an air fight. Because like I said, when he fought Tamagami 1, he was used to his body and he was able to fight in the air. That's not reflected here. These guys, he fought them on the ground, as you can see even from the fight scenes. That, you know, see, that's all ground combat, man. That's not, and I guess it's hordes mode, so they're keeping that. Nothing new right there or innovative. You're seeing some guys here. These are just random guys that, you know, you see Supreme Kai fighting, Glorio fighting. I mean, the only new thing we're looking at here is the story. Okay. Yeah, Goku's probably gonna have some moves. You got some new things going with the support guys because, you know, Supreme Kai's a different character than who we've had. Glorio is too. But y'all, I'm sorry. I'm not like, oh yeah, I can't wait to play part 1. Part 2, yeah. But like I said, this is why I feel like they should have just left it into one big DLC. But maybe, like I said, maybe they split it up because in part 2, the characters did a lot more stuff in the air. The people that they fought and all of that stuff, you know. So maybe that's why they had to split it up. I don't know. Okay, I have no idea. Once again, Super Saiyan Goku, this is a ground fight. You know what I'm saying? That's ground combat in Kakarot. That's, you can tell too, a dead giveaway of ground combat is the red barrier in the background. Okay. I'm all for hype. I'm all for stuff being exciting and things like that, guys. But I'm not going to sit here and glaze on something that doesn't need to be glazed on. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think any of us are looking forward to playing part 1 over part 2. The part that everybody's looking forward to is part 2. And that's the part to me that I have the biggest questions about as to what, you know, because this occurs after the Buu saga. Okay. So are these things, they should, if we go by how they've done DLCs in the past that come after the Buu saga, okay, those things were made playable in the main game. Fukasu no F, Battle of Gods, came after the Buu saga. Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue were playable in the main game. This comes after the Buu saga. It should be playable in the main game. Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, Super Saiyan 4 Goku. But guys, Kakarot has a glaring issue, and that is that there is no true end game. So yeah, it may be cool to have Super Saiyan God and Blue in the final game, in the main game, Super Saiyan 4, Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta in the main game. But what are we fighting? What is the purpose of it? Do you see what I'm saying? Who are we really going to be fighting in the main game? If that carries over. Even in the DLC, there is no end game. This is basically a linear, it's a straight linear game. I mean, there's no end game to this game. And that is what's crazy because, yeah, you get these super strong characters, but we're going to play with these guys for a couple of days and that'll be it. Now, once they get put into Dragon Ball Spark and Zero, that game has a different structure, thus the replayability is different. But let's be honest with ourselves, you know, they should have just kept part 1 and part 2 together because, guys, people are going to play part 1 for a few days and that is going to be it. And I'm just being real. The structure of getting stronger in this game, as I've talked about ever since its release, actually before its release, is heavily flawed because you have to eat in order to get stronger. There's no system put in place where Goku actually trains to get stronger. I've said it a million times. We should be able to train to increase our physical attack and defense, our key attack and defense. Eating should increase your stamina, or not your stamina. It should increase your ki and your health. Why? Because that's where that stuff comes from. You see what I'm saying? So I'm very, very interested to see, you know, are they going to finally implement that? I doubt it. Why? Because they're not even showcasing it. Okay. Adventure Through the Demon Realm Part 1. It's coming out in the summer, y'all. Summer, probably July. June, July, August. I think it's going to come out in July. So, and that's what the thing has been saying. It says July through September, but summertime, we know this will probably drop in July. If it drops in June, that's fine. It doesn't really matter to me. I want to say the last DLC that wasn't what DLC was it before this one? Did the last DLC drop in the summer as well? I can't remember. I seriously cannot remember. I remember because, or maybe that was just a completely different game. Because I remember college football came out in July, and there was another game or DLC that came out around that same time. But summer of 2025, guys, and we already know part 2 is not going to drop until early 2026. And that's the bummer for me. Part of it, like, I get it, you know, because them making this was probably something that was done at the last minute, because Super was supposed to come after this, after the previous DLC. But, you know, this happens before Super, blase, whatever. And it's not like, oh, we know exactly how this is going to end, let's go ahead and start making content for it. You know what I'm saying? And then something gets leaked, and then the actual episodes get spoiled. So it makes sense for them to do it later. My thing is they should have done part 1 and part 2 together and just released it at the same time in one big DLC, as opposed to a part 1 and a part 2. Then you're charging people $35 for this. I'm kind of on the shelf when it comes to pricing. I mean, I know things are more expensive now, but guys, you know, what's 35 and 35 is like, what's the math on that, y'all? Don't give me the line. Like $17 or something like that. Let's see, 35 divided by 2. Yeah, $17.50. To me, this is not worth $17. Part 1 is not. The stuff you'll get in part 2 with the transformations and all that kind of stuff. Hey, yeah. And I'm excited. It is a new story, guys. I'm not saying I'm not excited about it. What I'm saying is, looking at what they're doing, and guys, because I'm telling you, that trailer you just saw, that is all of part 1, aside from the Tamagami fight. And we already know the structure. You're going to get some kind of thing that'll be able to upgrade your character level. Glorio's going to be he's going to be the main fight. And then at the end, the special boss fight, main fight, the true main fight is going to be the Tamagami. Okay? And then you're going to get to go to some kind of training thing where you're going to get to fight those bosses all over again. I guess it's not as exciting as far as this part, because, I mean, yeah, you get 2 new guys to play on your team, you know, fight with you on your team. Goku's probably going to have a few different combos and moves and special stuff like that, but we pretty much already know what we're going to get. So the excitement factor is not quite there. Now, when we get to part 2 and you have Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, we've never seen that in this game. We've seen Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, and I think it was Raging Blast 2, along with Super Saiyan 3 Broly. But, you know, modernized, we hadn't seen a Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta like that. We hadn't played with Super Saiyan 4 Goku, kid and adult version in the game. You know, so that's going to be new. There's going to be new moves. It's a whole new transformation. Don't know the power scaling on it in reference to Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue. But it's going to be new. That unknown factor is what's going to be exciting about part 2. I'm not super excited about part 1. The only reason I'm excited for part 1 is because in order to get to part 2, we got to go through part 1. Does that make sense? So I'm excited we're getting more content for the game. You know, I'm just, I would really, if I could sit down and talk with them, I would like to know, hey, why didn't we do part 1 and part 2 as just one full DLC? And I know people will say, well, DM, if they did that, we wouldn't get it till 2026. This way, it kind of holds us off. And that's fine. Maybe it'll make the wait a little bit less, you know, because summer 2025, hey, college football 2026 is going to be out, buddy. You know, there's some great games coming out this year, so we'll have games to hold us over. But as far as Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, this, and then they're selling it as a pack. I don't even know if you can buy it individually. It's not making sense to me, y'all. The Daima edition, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot Plus. So they're gonna also sell the Dragon Ball Z Kakarot Daima edition. I don't know, y'all. I don't know, man. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. I am excited. We're getting more content. I don't like how they're doing it. And then, like I said, having to wait for part 2 until possibly January or February of next year, that is crazy. That's crazy. But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what y'all think down in the comment section down below, guys. Till next time, thanks for watching. Peace.